Fellow Toastmasters and guests, how did I go from this to this? I started on a ketogenic diet not because I was overweight, but because my hemoglobin A1C levels had skyrocketed to prediabetes and my cholesterol was in the red zone. Something had to change. And what a change! Looking better, feeling better, and even better. All my biomarkers returned to normal. I said to my husband, "Honey, you've got to get on board." And he said, "Not until I do the research." I said, "But sugar, I've got you." And I shared with him everything I had from my two gurus, Thomas DeLauer and Eric Berg. But he would have none of it. He was not interested in what these self-appointed experts had to say. He wanted his information from, as he put it, doctors of medicine. Despite my outstanding results, he still had some concerns, and they were these. First, that it's not natural. We were meant to fuel from sugar, and therefore anything that was intended to be an emergency only situation could not be sustainable as a lifestyle change. His second objection was, it's a fad diet. It hasn't been around long enough. Therefore, not enough is known about the effects of a ketogenic diet over a protracted period of time. His third objection was, that amount of fat can't possibly be good for you and is bound to result in other morbidities. So I focused my research on these three areas. I confined my sources to medical facilities, clinical studies, and doctors of medicine, as those were the only sources that he was going to trust. So let's take a look at what I found. Started with his first objection, it's not natural. Dr. Stephen Finney and Dr. Amit Ergin, endocrinologist, explains the physiology of metabolism this way. Every human being has what's called metabolic flexibility. That is, the ability to fuel from either sugar or ketones. In fact, you've entered a state of ketosis. Ketosis is that metabolic state where the body is burning fat for fuel. And this has happened in you, for instance, when you have eaten less and exercised more. Okay, well, if you can't relate to that one, have you ever gone a whole day without eating? Once your body exhausted the stored glucose, it resorted to fat for fuel. Keto adaptation, on the other hand, is a situation where the cells have all turned on the mechanics within the mitochondria to adapt to preferring ketones as its primary source of fuel. The body still, however, maintains that metabolic flexibility. His second objection, it hasn't been around long enough. Kate Zaratsky is a clinician at the Mayo Clinic, and she explains that a ketogenic diet has been in use since the 1920s as a mode of therapy for seizure disorders and uncontrolled epilepsy in children. In fact, both Johns Hopkins Medicine and the Mayo Clinic have been long outstanding pioneers of this mode of therapy. But let's go back even further. Exogenous insulin was discovered in 1921. It was used for the first time as a mode of treatment for patients with type 1 diabetes in January of 1922. Prior to that, the only way to keep a patient with type 1 diabetes alive was a ketogenic diet. Their options were essentially fuel from ketones or die. His third objection, the fat content. Dr. Sarah Halbert and Dr. Jeff Volek have both conducted extensive clinical studies, peer-reviewed and longitudinal, on the effects of a ketogenic diet in certain situations. And they have found that this metabolic state has widespread and profound therapeutic and performance enhancing effects, including the reversal of type 2 diabetes, the reduction or elimination of pain, the reduction of tumors, the reduced risk of cardiovascular disease, the reduction of inflammation, and enhanced brain performance. Listen, you'll like this one. The use of a ketogenic diet in the treatment of cancer. Every cell in the human body, the brain, the heart, the lungs, the musculoskeletal, can fuel from either glucose or ketones. A cancer cell does not know what to do with a ketone, but it thrives in a sugary environment. You starve the environment of that sugar, and cancer cells cannot flourish. MD Anderson Cancer Center, considered a mecca for cancer in the US, will place its patients on a ketogenic diet. So to summarize my findings, first, the body will adapt to whichever of these fuel sources it is being fed predominantly and still maintain the metabolic flexibility. Perfectly physiologic. The second is that as a lifestyle diet, it predates the 1920s. And thirdly, those morbidities that have previously been thought to be caused by high dietary fats have been found instead to be caused by excessive sugars in the diet and are helped by a ketogenic diet. Now, my husband has said to me, honey, if I tell you I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. You don't have to keep nagging me every 6 months. Well, it's okay, honey. I've done the research. I'll post my bibliography in the chat, and back to you, Madam Toastmaster.